Okay, I just got the reason why they don't want to come in as the Queen of Wands is because you're the Queen of Wands. I just got that you're all shiny and sparkly and creative and full of life. And they could come in that way, but that's not inherently them. They don't want to mirror you when they come in. They don't want to do Queen of Cups thing. They don't want to do Queen of Wands thing. But they don't want to come in as the King of Wands. They don't want to come in as the King of Swords. Technically, they are the King of Pentacles because this King of Cups is upside down, but this whole row was laid down on the King of Pentacles. And then oddly enough, we have the Queen of Pentacles in that row, which would also be you. So I get this like Emperor energy. I get this Empress energy. That's what they think of you. They don't realize that they're an emperor. They're just choosing which persona they want to use at any given time. They don't realize what that means. And they recognized you as their match, knowing all the queens. But they don't know what that means. So basically you're their empress, but they don't know what that means. Deceit, intuition, something doesn't add up, catching on to lies. I feel like this is them catching on to what's real. Their fire is getting ready to be ignited. If it hasn't already. Gonna do a couple more passes in this messages deck. And if nothing comes out, we're gonna go no contact. Is there anything else we can get from the cards on the table before we move to the other song decks? That is so funny. They are like dissecting the Empress. And it's funny too that the Empress isn't even on the table. I mean, I really don't recall the Empress being on the table. I don't believe it is. Yeah. So we got What About Love, which is detached, unrequited, and one-sided, but that's because this person isn't talking. We also have Simply Irresistible. I think also they're still struggling with that King of Cups energy a little bit. I was gonna say they make a mean Queen of Cups, but they can't 100% control their own energy, their own emotions. I was gonna say, so they get a little emotional sometimes. Yeah. This person had gone through some stuff. And it kind of created a conundrum in their head as to how love fits into things, how desire fits into things, how like healing fits into things, how boundaries fit into things. What happens when you know more? When you kind of look back and you see when you were getting into the relationship, what you knew and how much more you know now. And what that really means when you connect with somebody again after a long period of time. This would not come out of my hand. It just kind of stuck in my hand and it wouldn't come out. So basically this person has started to pick apart love. They've started to analyze love. They've started to understand that what it looks like when the the marriage and the family and the household matches the love, and they're starting to see what that looks like in another person, because now they've been everyone, and they're starting to see how you might have provided that from the get-go. You may not have had to grow very much to be all these queens, but they had to grow a lot to be all those kings, or at least to choose to be the queen of that suit. And so they now see that you had that all along, but like I said, they still don't know what that is, except for now they have experienced people, either in friendships or relationships, who didn't govern themselves at all, possibly these upside down King of Cups energy. And so they now see how unpleasant something like that is. Like if they wanted to exhibit that energy, how unpleasant they would be to be around. And so they're also realizing how pleasant you were to be around. And so they are missing the fact that they had someone who didn't always challenge them, who didn't always make them feel inadequate, who didn't continuously hurt them before they could actually heal from the last thing that you did that hurt them, who didn't always remind them that they were useless or worthless or whatever other energy that other person brought with them that told them that they brought with them. This flew out of my deck and went back in there. I'm going to stick it back in the deck. But yeah, it made this person feel hopeless. And they remembered a time when their relationship with you was easy because you made it easy. Because you showed them. That's the only reason why that Two of Cups is upright for them, is because they saw that before. They just didn't get a chance to have the marriage or the household or the family with you. Something else happened instead. And their sun has been upside down ever since. And it's possible they don't want to be the Queen of Wands, because also the Queen of Wands, they may have experienced a Queen of Wands upside down. Trying to get something from the Tell It Like It Is deck and nothing's coming out, which is super interesting. Does that mean I said everything? Is there anything else? Now we understand why this person feels the way they do about you. You showed them something that they didn't get after. So for me, this is like them facing their shadow. They understand what they did to you, even if it wasn't a lot. Even if they didn't do anything really bad, like if you would have talked to them before and they would have been like, come on, man, all I did was break up with you. Now they realize, however subtle they were, how hurtful it was. They get you now. That's how they feel about you. You showed them something that didn't match the other stuff that they were given later, and then when they got to the point where they saw the difference and knew they didn't like it, because they're not dumb, they had to go through a whole other cycle with like all these other personas, or someone maybe who was bipolar or something, which kind of showed them all these different sides to stuff, which made them more conscious of who they were being and realized how easy it was with you. Meanwhile, they kept getting reminded about how they're not perfect, right? We have Don't Talk to Strangers, which is basically like them not wanting you to date. We have this kind of like retaliation energy. And I feel like to a certain extent, this is them kind of, what else we got? I get excited and before he cheats. See, I feel like there could be a residual energy in this person's energy. Again, if we don't care about this residual energy, it's not going to show up very prominently. I feel like we know how to manifest really well, and we don't pay no never mind to energies that, seek to thwart whatever it is that we're trying to do. We kind of stay in this energy right here, right? But I think that someone else is considering this as sort of like a running off. But this person hasn't really run off. I mean, again, our the whole purpose behind this reading was to see how they felt about you. Not what they were going to do. So on top of you showing them what they were missing in their life, they're missing you. And, you know, there's an attraction. They've done shadow work. So again, in that shadow work, they understood. So I feel like they understood, and then they understood again. I think I just hit my microphone. They understood what they were missing, and then they understood what you brought. But what you brought wasn't the thing that shocked them. What shocked them was the hurtful way that they either ended things with you or didn't end things with you and left you hanging. And then now there's another person who appears to be gone, but aware of a situation, this 9 of Swords. And I feel like this 6 of Swords has been in play this entire time. And I feel like to a certain extent, this person is done with this energy here. I sort of don't even really see it on the table, except for maybe here. So maybe this, usually what shows up as the Queen of Wands or the Queen of Wands in reverse is actually this King of Wands in reverse. Which again would make sense, because like I said, this person doesn't want to show up. Yeah. It's funny, when we tap into enough people, we kind of just see how they think, you know. That everybody's different. They're the same, but everybody's different. But it shows us how they think, you know. And to a certain extent, this person could, even if they had had a relationship and broke up with that person yesterday, they could separate that person and you. It's like night and day. They know. So it's one of those situations where it's like, no matter what would be thrown at them or what was left behind in an energy, they know the difference. You showed them the difference. They're hanging on to that. I'm surprised the 4 of Pentacles isn't on the table. Because they're hanging on to what you showed them, because they're going to go for it. It's almost kind of like this energy right here. Like usually the devil has a hold on you. You can't get away from him, whatever. I feel like the devil cannot affect this person at all. I was just trying to see if there was another energy on the table. I feel like, yeah, the heat is on. I feel like they grow more and more excited as they think about you. Because we got this love here that you showed them. These other 2 things that were missing, but it wasn't just having them and then missing them. It was kind of like you showing them the love, showed them that they could have those things upright. And then they had another person reminding them, like basically about how miserable life can be. So they saw that. They saw 2 different people. And then, you know, at that point kind of stopped caring about their own connection to a certain degree. But also started caring about your connection and where you were going to go. Because again, they see an Empress, they just don't realize it. So they know, like inherently, even if it's not the case or it's not like a spiritual thing, they know that you could be with anyone, and that frightens them. I think maybe what they don't know is the Empress isn't necessarily with just anyone, and they're exhibiting this Emperor, you know, qualities, even though they don't really know what that is. And I think to a certain degree, that's what ultimately is making them see you as their match. It's the love you brought, but it's also the matching of all these personas and energies. It's this Empress versus Emperor dynamic, but it's also, you know, like this Queen of Pentacles, King of Pentacles dynamic, and whoever else they choose to be that they know that you can match. Meanwhile, they're not like, I was going to say achy breaky anymore. So weird. They're not, you know, truly affected by past situations because they've either gotten over it or they saw that it wasn't as important to begin with. And even this stuff doesn't really bother them. So you're the light in their I was going to say in their wheelhouse. You're their Ten of Cups upright. You're their Queen of Wands upright. You're their Four of Wands upright. They think you're adorable. They miss you, and they get excited about seeing you again. They've looked at themselves enough to see how they should treat you and cherish you. They also know that love is important, but they don't want you to get away. So, yeah. And they could be waiting a little bit too, because they might have to get someone off of them. So remember, this is how they feel about you, not necessarily what they want you to know. So keep that in mind. Until next time.